Hi everyone, welcome to another exciting edition of Words, Images, and Worlds. Here with our headphones and matching water bottles, I am delighted to be talking with author, comics writer Erik Burnham. Erik, thank you for jumping in and talking with me for a few minutes.
Hey, appreciate you. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure, my pleasure. You have worked in some very notable, well-known worlds, particularly with the publisher IDW, and so I'll just hat tip a few of those, and then we can roam through some questions.
All right.
TMNT, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, being one of those. GI Joe, Back to the Future, um, Lady Hell being another one of those,
Mhm.
A-Team. So you have written widely in
Oh yeah,
the medium, which is very cool. It's very cool.
yeah. No, it is just straight up fun having
Yeah.
access to so many different types of franchises and flavors of story. So I've felt lucky, blessed, and happy for the last decade plus.
Nice, nice. Um, how did you decide that comics were the place that you were going to be writing?
Well, my mom likes to tell a story. When I was 4 years old, I told her that I wanted to either be a magician or I wanted to write comics.
Hmm.
I don't have the manual dexterity to do magic, so it became comics. But truth be told, I love writing. I love writing stories, and I like writing beyond just prose. Comics are the easiest thing to get a story that hits, several different. I mean, you can get a visual with it, and it's not you don't need a cast for a play or a movie. You don't need other people to do it. Strictly speaking, if you want to take the time and aren't perfectionist about the results, anybody can do a full comic, art and all, and get the story out there. And it's a different discipline than, as I said, writing prose or writing anything else. And I've taken to it. I loved writing screenplays and stage plays when I was in high school and on, but comics. With my mom's story was my first love, so I always kind of gravitated back to there, and just being able to tell a complete story uh, by myself, happily
Hmm.
with other people, always happily with other people. But I enjoy being able to just get the whole thing done, even if nobody else has time.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I'll go ahead and mention collaborations. So you mentioned working with other people, and I know
Yeah.
that you've worked with one of my favorite people, Sarah Meyer,
Oh yeah.
being one of those. Any other particular collaborative
Oh
experiences that have been really positive?
well, the biggest one, and the one that the only major thing I worked on, I think that you didn't throw out in the beginning, was Ghostbusters, and I worked on that
Yes.
for 10 years with Dan Schoening and Luis Antonio Delgado. We're still working together. We're doing stuff. Dan is the alternating artist with Sarah on Saturday Morning Adventures. So
Hmm.
we're still continuing our collaboration, and we worked on GI Joe as well and Godzilla. So those two fellas have been just fantastic to work with this last decade. I love working with them. I got to work with yeah, he's mostly in animation now, but Chris Jones on the Marvel Action Spider-Man for IDW when they were licensing those for a little bit.
Yep.
And my goodness, Chris is just amazing. He just did a Doctor Who graphic novel with Dan Slott, and it's fantastic. So, yeah, no, I keep lucking out getting to work with wonderful collaborators, and certainly Sarah is one. I just got it was funny. I was so busy the last few months. I completely forgot writing the script that I got a proof for. I'm like, I I vaguely remember writing. I don't remember any of these words. I don't remember any of these scenes. But it's the April O'Neil special coming out in April, and
Nice.
that was the whole pitch. I got it. What if we did a one shot with April and it came out in April? They're like, sold. I don't have an idea yet. Um, but uh, but the idea was to team April with Ace Duck, and Sarah knocked it right out of the park,
Oh
as
yeah.
they do
Yeah.
every single time. So um, yeah, I got to, since I forgot about writing it, I got to experience it completely fresh, and it's embarrassing to admit I was laughing at some of my own jokes, but also the things that Sarah added to the humor
Yeah.
um, on the page, which fantastic at that. So is Dan. Like I said, another thing. Everybody I collaborate with is really good about um, additive. Being throwing stuff in there just makes everything look better. So
Absolutely, absolutely. And I imagine the joy, the getting to laugh at what you're creating and kind of experience it that way. Imagine that's part of the joy of all of that.
it is a plus. But I mean, I usually don't forget writing the entire story before I get a chance to look at it.
Yep.
Usually I have, usually it's a couple years down the line. Oh, I wonder if this was any good. Hey, not bad. I'm surprised I did so well. But I mean, this thing hasn't even come out yet. I turned the story in probably, 6 weeks ago, and it's just, holidays and everything is just.
Hmm. Hmm.
But it was fun, and we got to play with Ace Duck not having any kind of established story. He was in the cartoon for a cameo of all about 2 seconds. He was a movie character, so there was no connection to the 1987 characters as far as that. So we just said, okay, what are we going to do? And we made him Indiana Jones, and that's
Love it.
he's dressed
Love
like Jake Cutter, but we made him Indiana Jones.
it.
There's a reference nobody's going to get.
Love it. Love it. So, oh, where was I going to go next? Sorry, it's been a long
That's
day for me
No,
as well.
completely. I get it. Yeah, man, no worries. It's crazy day and it's a weekend. So I mean, the mind is not going to be where it should be all the time.
I was going to ask what it's like to work on all of those properties. That's where I was going to go next.
Oh, it's just fun. It is getting to, jump into the toy box, pull out all kinds of things and play.
Mhm.
At the end of the day, it's play. It's well defined rules from every single licensor. You can do this, you cannot do this, you can never do this, and so I know going in what I am allowed to do and what I'm not allowed to do, and within that window, there's plenty of fun to be had, and I just it's my childhood was I moved around a lot. So I watched a lot of TV. I watched a lot of movies and I absorbed a lot of pop culture. And this is me getting to, you know, dive back into all that stuff. And it's like reliving childhood set in front of a TV set, which, is probably not a good thing to admit, but I'm admitting all kinds of terrible things here today. So
That's the
why not one
confession
more,
booth.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But no, it's, I mean, it's just everything was a toy. And so it is. It's playing with toys and seeing where you can go with it, and I really do enjoy that.
Yeah, yeah. In terms of next creative steps, places you'd like to create in that you maybe haven't yet.
Well, I did say that I enjoyed movies and TV. I'd like to branch out into movies, TV, games. It sometimes I live in the middle of nowhere, so sometimes it feels like that far away. But I mean, I know so many people working in those spaces, so I know it's not impossible.
Hmm.
And it would just be fun to try to expand the collaboration into that space into motion into motion.
Yeah.
I'd also wouldn't mind getting into audio. I started out my career. I mean, the babbling is not going to sell that, but I started out my career in broadcasting and radio, and audio drama is now being a thing with podcasts.
Hmm.
That was not. I mean, that's just a relatively recent return to something that was big in the 30s and 40s. It's just now coming back. Well, coming back like 15 years ago, but still, it's coming back and more popular, and Audible does stuff, and Spotify does stuff, and all these folks do stuff. It'd be neat to write something in that space as well, something that is just completely dialogue and narration, and see if I can't get a satisfying story out of that.
Yes, yes. I would love to see a Shadow Nose episode from you, just saying. Just saying.
That would be, yes. The Shadow would be a hoot. I mean, he's on the list of characters that would be fun to write. I don't know which version of the Shadow I would write, uh, because there's been at least half a dozen, with shades overlapping in the each. But it would be a hoot to write that kind of radio nonsense, or just anything. It would be a neat challenge.
Definitely,
Mhm.
definitely. If I'm a listener out there and I want to know more and I want to find out like what you're working on and kind of follow along
Mhm.
and see the April issue in April and all of those things, where would I go to sort of keep in touch with you?
Okay, well, all of my social medias are my name. which is Erik Burnham, which is Erik. Burn, like is set something on fire. Ham, like in pig. That's where to find me. My website is actually because Erik Burnham wasn't available. My website is burnamania.com. So
That's a
Burnham,
great website name.
Manium, yes, it's a portmanteau. I was clever. And then I also do I put up newslettery type content on my Patreon, which doesn't require any subscriptions or anything. I just put the stuff up there, once a month or so, so people can look at that and sign up for that and get a notification when I say, oh, here's some news and announcements. And that's an easy thing since newsletter clients have started going bonkers
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
disappearing on me.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for being the first guest, I believe, who has used the word portmanteau.
Oh well,
It's a great,
I mean,
it's like a
I'm glad
stretch
to be the
goal.
first. Yes, exactly. Yes, it's, throw out an odd word. Why not? Let's go for it. I'm glad to be known for something.
That's the writer skill, the writer skill.
Yeah.
Um, well, did we miss anything in the talk through that you want to make sure to share?
I think we covered everything. The only thing I'll add is that I appreciate all the enthusiasm over and for the Saturday Morning Adventure series.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
man, I want to thank everybody who's reading it and tell you to keep it up. We like working on it.
Yeah, yeah. It's great to find a book that works, and then to get it to keep going is even better.
Yep, I just turned in the second year's outline not too long ago, so we're trudging forward.
Fantastic.